We are coming to a moment. Always coming to a moment, right? Yes, the Jews left Egypt. You can take the Jew out of Egypt, but you can't take Egypt out of the Jew at this point. At this point, that's where we're holding. That's where we're holding. Let us see. Okay. Actually, okay. We are in chapter 14 in the book of Shmos, Exodus, verse 9. We're in the fourth Torah portion. We continue. The Yirdifu, and they chased Mitzrayim, the Egyptians, Achreim, after them, after the Jews, Bnei Israel, the Asigu, when they reached Oisam, them, Chaynim, that they were encamped al Hayam by the river, they were by the river, Sea of Reeds. Kolsus, Recha, Para, all Kolsus, every horse, Rechiv, chariot, horses, Para, Farashov, and his army. Sorry, the Farashov is horseman, actually. Sorry, it's his horseman. The Chela is his army. Chayal, right? The Chayal is a soldier, right? Chela is army. Al Piachirais, next to the place called Piachirais, right? Which was renamed from as we said yesterday, for their freedom. Lifnei Baal Tefon, before Baal Tefon. Next Rashi, next verse. Which this is what we had last night's class. We'll see in a moment. Paro Hikri, but Paro came close. He drew near the Yisu b'nei Yisrael, and they lifted up b'nei Yisrael as eineihem, their eyes. V'hine, behold, Mitzrayim, the Egyptians, are traveling after them. V'yiru, and they were frightened, very much so. Vayitzaku, and that's what Rashi's last night's class. Right on the word Vayitzaku, and they cried out, Bnei Israel, the children of Israel, El Hashem, to God. Rashi in verse number 10, and Pharaoh, he brought himself close, he came near. The verse should have said that Pharaoh drew near, drew close. Right? That would be the proper way. Mahu Hikri, what does it mean, brought close? Okay, hello. Right, what brought close means he was brought by something close. Right, that's what it means, hikriv. Rather than, it should have said karav, that he came close. Hikriv atzmei v'nis ametz lekadim lifnehem. What does it mean that like something else was pushing him to bring him close? He brought himself close and made an effort to go ahead of his troops. Others, he was being pushed from inside, right? Something was pushing him to come close. Yeah, well, that's how Rashi explains it. In other words, it wasn't so much about, it wasn't Vikariv is the action of coming close. Hikriv is like the thing that's bringing you to come close. So what was it inside of him? It was pushing him because he wanted to be there, he was really motivated. Exactly. As stipulated with them, and he would do. Okay, just giving an example. He was traveling, journeying after them, right? Noiseya. Okay, guys, Shimon Leib can live his own life. He's in his own world. We have to be a world in Chumash and Rashi. We're in the world of Chumash and Rashi, okay? So now look what the pasuk says. Look at the words. Noiseya, it should say nosu, which is plural. Achareihem, after them, plural. But it says noiseya, he traveled achareihem, right? So what does that mean? So Rashi explains. How's he traveled? It was a bunch of Egyptians that traveled. Why is it only in singular? Rashi says, "B'leiv echad ki shechad." They were with one heart as one man. In other words, the Egyptians were all in it together, right? Davar acher. Alternative explanation of the singular verb is v'hine mitzrayim neisei achareyim, and behold, Egypt was journeying after them, indicates the Israelites saw the ministering angel of Egypt traveling from the heavens to give aid to Egypt. Alternative explanation. Interesting. We need to see a sikh on that. In other words, here Rashi is explaining the word Egypt doesn't mean Egypt. It means the angel of Egypt. That's what it means. Why Rashi explains that in the simple meaning of the text, I don't understand. We need the sikha for that. And why the first explanation is not sufficient? Good question. Okay, next. This is the Rashi that we learned last night. B'yitzaku, and they cried out. Who cried out? The children of Israel cried out. Rashi says, what does that mean? They adopted the craft of their forefathers, which means prayer, right? But the craft of their forefathers. We're on 10. Number 10, the last Rashi B'yitzaku in 10. So they seized, adopted, they seized, right? They adopted the umanais, the occupation or craft, both ideas, of their forefathers, which means prayer. And now he brings proof of that they prayed. What does
it mean that they looked up?
We're not on that right now. So
you're on 10.
Yeah, I know, but we're in Rashi, in the last Rashi that they cried out. That's what we're holding. Looked up, it means it's simple. Physically, they looked up and they saw the Egyptians coming after them, so they got frightened. Simple. So regarding Avram, it says in a place that he stood. Regarding Yitzchak, it says to meditate in the field. Regarding Yaakov, it says that he encountered a place, right, where he prayed and then went to sleep and had the dream of the ladder, right? So if we have time, we'll come back on this and give a little synopsis of last night's class. Okay, let it. Huh?
In Pasuk 9, it says the army overtook them by the way of but from what verse that is saying?
Overtook them. It doesn't mean overtook them. It overtook them in the sense that they came up and they're now up against them. They didn't go beyond them because beyond them was the river, right? Beyond them was the river. So it doesn't mean that in that sense they overtook them. Overtaking means that you met up with them and now you're kind of in their face, if you will. Okay, verse 11. And they said, to Moshe, Amnibli ein kvarim. Is there without ein kvarim, there's no graves in Mitzrayim in Egypt. L'kachtanu lamos, that he brought us to die, the midbar in the desert. What is this he did to us? Like to take us out of Egypt. Now, what did you do? Rashi in 11. Amabli. How many bli ein kvarim? Is it because there's no any graves? Is it because it's insufficient amount of graves? That there is no graves in Egypt that we could have been buried there. The Kaftonu Misham, that he took us from there. In an old French, Sipur parlons de non foams. Fos.
You do not need a second.
I could go live in Troyes with Rashi. Verse number 12. Shmuel, we're learning over here, okay? Thank you. Shimelei, we're in verse 12. Okay?
Yeah. I went to get a coffee. Could have got it before.
Okay, verse 12. Is this not the thing that we have spoken to you in Mitzrayim in Egypt? Leave us alone. Navda is Mitzrayim. We will serve the Egyptians. Because it's good for us, better for us that we should serve Egypt than dying in the desert. Jewish people are very funny people. If you noticed. They just finished praying to God, right?
Right.
And now they're complaining. Is it a contradiction? No. Apparently not. Right?
What else is new?
You can pray to God and still be complaining. And really praying to God. Okay.
Not only to God.
Okay, verse 12. Rashi. And we spoke to you in Egypt. Where did they say this? So they said in the verse, may Hashem reveal himself and carry out judgment. Thank you. Thank you. And carry out judgment. Right? They were upset. Why? Because remember, he came and things got worse for them. So they said, God, he's going to make a judgment against you. What are you making trouble for us? Say no, that we should die. The verb form is synonymous with asher namus, that we should die. Okay, some grammar here. We would have interpreted that our death, for in the case of being a noun, it's vowelized with a shuruk. Niva me'asher namus be interpreted that we should die. Chayni mitenu musenu, musenu v'shenamus. Chayni mitenu musenu v'avshalom sha'almus. Kamei l'yayim kumilad. Asher b'nei v'shalom. Sha'akim v'ashu. Okay. 13. So Moshe responded to them, Ela'am, to the nation, to the people. Al tira'u, do not fear. Hisyatzvu, stand firm. Uvre'u, and see. Es Yeshua's Hashem, the salvations of God. Asher Yasa, that he will do lachem, for you. Hayoim, today. Ki atem re'isem, for you have seen Es Mitzrayim, the Egyptians. Hayoim, today. But you will not continue. To see them, oid, further, adelam, forevermore. You go to Egypt today, it's not the Egyptians of yesteryear, right? Rashi in 13. For that which you have seen the Egyptians, for that which you will see is only today. Who? Today is the day you will see them, but you will no longer continue to see them. Why Rashi has to explain that it wasn't understood in the words themselves, I'm not clear, but so Rashi said. Hashem yilachem lachem. Okay, further famous words. These are very famous words over here. Hashem yilachem lachem. Hashem will battle for you. Vatim tachrisham, you remain silent. Rashi in 14, the last Rashi. Yilachem lachem. Hashem will do battle for you. Bishvilchem, for your sake, on your behalf. V'chein ki Hashem nilcham lahem. Likewise, we see with the lamed is a prefix, means for them. Hashem waging war for them. See that in another place. Achen asher diber li. Achen atem tirivun lebal. Likewise said you will fight on behalf of Baal. Just giving different that the lamed is the common prefix of a lamed in a word is to. But here it means not to, but on behalf. God will fight on your behalf. Famous medrash over here of the 4 different groups, right? 4 different groups.
Does this mean that there's a lot of different meanings to those words?
Well, in Rashi,
The Rashi is saying like 4 different things. Here.
no. He's just giving examples of that. The prefix of the lamed over here doesn't mean to, but it means on behalf. Just giving examples.
Better have a drink ready, Rabbi.
Huh?
You better have a coffee ready or something.
Yeah. It's
I like this explanation that says you would fight. That you would fight for Baal.
huh?
There's also another explanation. Yeah.
Go ahead.
You would fight for Baal.
For
Baal.
Baal?
I think that this
Not in Rashi.
yeah, Rashi, yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. No. I'm sorry. That's just that's not an explanation. That's explaining that the prefix of a lamed of a word means on behalf. He's just giving an example.
Okay.
It's an example. You have to remember that Rashi is often explaining the grammar of the verses, and when he does so, he brings examples
From different
other places to show that the grammar means as such.
Okay.
Okay. We're gonna stop here. All right. Thank you, folks.
Thank you, Rabbi.